Radio, V81 Radio. V81 Radio, V81 Radio.
Our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kanta at programang Tatak Pinoy. Napapanood at napapakinggan kahit saan ka man. Streaming worldwide. In South Manila, this is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Ito ang radio ko, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan, kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio. V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by the host do not necessarily state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect those of the host, the show, this station, the management, and the network. Welcome to Pride and Proud Asia, Asia's first online radio show that champions LGBT contribution and leadership in business and in our country and the region. Hosted by the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce, visibility, representation, and empowerment. This is Pride and Proud Asia. Happy Pride!
Happy Pride, everyone! Welcome to a new episode of Pride and Proud Asia, where we put the spotlight on LGBT leadership and inspiring stories in business and beyond. I am your host, your equality advocate, your partner in LGBT business, your Chief Rampa Officer, Ronn. This online show is presented by the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce in partnership with V81 Radio Manila. Well, guys, tonight is an exciting night as we gather again and talk about issues and stories and contributions of LGBT plus people in business and economic growth. So I think it's been a week since we first did our launch episode, and as you always say here, with these stories that we feature in the shows, we hope that you'll see us more, hear us more, and love us more. Kaya inaanyayahan namin po kayo ngayong araw na ito to join us and listen to our program. We have a very exciting lineup today, and as we always wish, we want you to pick some stories, some lessons from the LGBT community. Let me now call on two of my dear friends, my program co-hosts for today, my fellow advocates for LGBT rights and inclusion, our power activista in heels, Angel Romero. And hi, Angel. And of course, our new, hi. And also, let me bring in our other co-host, our dear friend. Eto, I think we should say this properly, no? Our hot attorney at law, Attorney Quino Reyes. Hi, Quino.
Happy Pride, Angel and Ron. I'm glad to be here finally.
Happy
Na-pressure
Pride.
naman ako sa intro.
Oo nga, kasi syempre, hot ang kasama. I think we have a hot topic for a hot attorney.
Well, that's true.
It's our way of spending Saturday night with everybody. You know, I think we're chilling. We're just, some of you can grab your drinks, your gin and tonic and what have you. But I think every Saturday night would be a good way to listen to LGBT stories, to listen to our, and also to listen to our viewers, you know, as we explore more topics, more issues that are about LGBT, all about LGBT-centered matters. Kamusta kayo this week? How have you been, Jel and Quino? Ikaw, Jel, kamusta?
All good. Busy with work, but yeah, good to be back here with Attorney Quino. And I think our episode for tonight is very exciting, especially that there are a lot of news revolving around trans visibility. So very excited.
Kino, ikaw, kamusta ka? How have you been? And welcome to the show,
Well,
attorney.
thank you. I'm glad to be here. I watched the series premiere last week and nainggit ako sa inyo with Win. So finally, nakasingit naman ako for tonight's episode. I'm glad to be here because it's been a rather stressful week. As you know, tax season ngayon eh. So filing was just a couple
Oh,
of days ago. So, nairaos naman and I'm glad na we're doing all right and I'm glad to be here.
I know, yeah. I mean, siguro lahat nga busy din sa mga filing and all. But yes, once that's over, time to get your drinks and mag-relax ka na. So you deserve to relax, So siguro, just to inform our viewers, Kino and Angel, again, are my colleagues from the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce. Kino is our corporate and legal counsel. Angel is our director for partnership and external affairs. And in the LGBT Chamber of Commerce, we are happy to have an opportunity to provide to have an avenue rather, so where we can amplify the voices of LGBT business community as we focus on developing an inclusive workplace environment, championing LGBT leadership, and of course, promoting best practices on diversity, equality, and inclusion across industries and geographic boundaries. No? So I think we will always be pushing for these advocacies as long as the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce is around, and we have Kino, we have Angel advocates out there fighting for our rights, fighting for our present. So kinamusta ko kayo. I think we also have to ask everybody around the world, our viewers elsewhere, kamusta rin kayo? Because we were able to pick up some stories on LGBT, LGBT stories in different parts of the region, di ba? So, umpisahan ko na with your indulgence, Kino and Angel, kasi para lang to give us our viewers an advice. Like, ito rin nangyayari ngayon outside the region and outside the Philippines, for example. I think we have our first news. I think we have news before last March, where the Japanese court rules gay marriage ban is unconstitutional. No? So there. Do you see that? Yeah, there.
yeah,
So
it's loading. Yeah, yeah. Mm-mm.
there. What can you say about this? Who can give a brief background?
Well, I guess it's legal, diba? Medyo
So
it's
go
more,
ahead.
it's aligned with my practice. So this is very heartening for me because Japan's legal system is very traditional. As you know, in Asia, only one territory allows same-sex marriage, and that's Taiwan. Wait, or dalawa na ba siya? I'm not sure kung Vietnam is fully pero konti lang talaga. So Japan is very traditional, and the fact that there was this decision by a judge saying that a ban on same-sex marriages is unconstitutional is already a victory. But I just want to point out, though, I mean, it's great. We should celebrate this with our Japanese friends. But it doesn't mean that automatically same-sex couples can get married in Japan. Because a lot of times, kailangan ng implementing law for these things. So ang sinabi kasi ng Japanese judge or court is that a ban is unconstitutional. So bawal i-ban. So dahil hindi bawal siya i-ban, therefore, in theory, pwede siya. Diba? Pero in order to allow it, kailangan ng implementing law. Like ano ba yung sistema? Ano ba yung procedure? So until that happens, the Japanese lawmakers enact a law for this, then I don't see same-sex marriages happening in Japan anytime soon. But this is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
Jen.
yeah, this reminds me of our event, or it's a partnership with the Film Development Council of the Philippines and the Japanese Embassy in 2018. We actually brought one of the parang most awarded na documentaries about LGBT in Japan. It's called Of Love and Law, and it actually documents the journey of two gay young lawyers in Japan, and the struggles and how they fight yung mga minorities, so fight for the rights of the minorities. And I really enjoyed the film. The setting is in Japan, so very conservative, but they try their best actually to to fight the rights of the minorities, not just LGBT, but women. And then meron silang isang case about an artist na kinasuhan ng government because she was selling parang art that's not really parang within the realms of the conservative Japanese society. So parang ang ganda niya. And parang ang parallel din na they feature yung lives naman nung couple, they wanting to adapt kahit adopt kahit na bawal pa rin syempre sa Japan. So it's really a good step towards baby steps, but at least merong mga ganitong good news that is happening, especially in conservative countries like Japan.
That's true.
Good thing you mentioned that, Angel. I remember watching that documentary at FDCP, diba? So Development Council of the Philippines sa may Calao. I remember it was a film festival. And there was a talk pa after eh. And so it really left an impression on me. Not just as a gay man, but also, of course, as a lawyer, because it tackled the legal atmosphere in Japan. But so I highly suggest for our viewers, if you can find online a place to watch of Love and Law, then please do. It's a really heartwarming, a very enlightening documentary.
Tsaka it's very light, Hindi siya heavy. So after watching the film, you'll feel good na parang there's hope, parang ganyan.
Correct. Oh, let's move to the next story. What do we have? Can you read the banner story for the next one? The banner headline, I guess.
Okay, so Marvel announces first gay Captain America. So ito rin, good news din siya. First ever daw. And when I read the articles online, I found out that the artist of this limited edition comic series or book is trans. So ang ganda ng connection niya, no? So I think yung character here is like Captain America, pero yung sinisave niya is yung mga everyday people. So ang ganda ng tahi niya to fighting for people nga na hindi as privileged, no, as others. So tapos ang ganda because the artist is trans. So yeah.
And I as a comic book geek, I really love this story because I've been reading Captain America. Yeah. So I'm gonna review my age, pero during the early 90s, nag-start na ako magbasa ng comics. X-Men yung uso noon, pero I was a fan of Captain America and the Avengers. Minority ako dati. And I love this story because, Captain America is always, especially the comics, he's blonde, blue-eyed. He's always parang this very specific European American character. European looks, but American character, diba? And so with this new character, they introduced a young Captain America. This character is also, aside from being LGBTQ, is also parang nomad, diba? No Man Land, the recent movie. Yeah. So I think he travels via railway. So parang he's not in a fixed location. He's a nomad. And he protects talagang the real marginalized, other like homeless people, impoverished people, LGBTQIs. So this is great. And kasi marami sila. This is part of a series, parang United States of Captain America, where there are different, comics naman ganun talaga. May mga different versions of a character. But the fact that we have one version like this is pretty amazing.
Tsaka imagine what it would do to young LGBTQIA kids, diba?
Right.
Reading something that talks about them. So yeah.
Galing. I guess again we need more visibility in different areas. Like having that in the comic, Marvel collection, na merong gay Captain America, it gives us that's diversity. I guess that's giving space for others who have always been behind the scene in the dark, and if I'm a comics person and I see that, my God, parang, wow, it's so good to have that kind of representation by Marvel, di ba? As a character with superpowers and all. So, and
True.
next news from out there. Oh, what's this? It's time for an actual gay season of The Bachelor already. I think this is it's a case of one Bachelor coming out. And now people are clamoring, why not have an actual gay Bachelor season? What do you think?
Sige, ako muna, since feeling ko mahaba yung sa inyong dalawa. For me, parang, it's a good thing because I find The Bachelor really problematic, the show. So, at least merong balance. If people see na parang there's this guy who came out and people are start seeing na, oh, why not? But I think parang nagawa na siya before. I forgot the shows. Pero trinay na siya before to have like some sort of dating show for LGBTQIA. So yeah, so the floor is yours, Quino and Ron.
Well, for me kasi, having a gay Bachelor season makes a lot of sense in terms of like business, because the vast majority of the audience of The Bachelor are females, di ba? And uso na ngayon, especially for women, na yung mga BL, like yung mga romance between men, di ba? Like boy love, whatever. So may market eh. And I think this might introduce that to the US market. So from a business perspective, I think it makes sense. And it also, of course, the moment may gay Bachelor, then the LGBTQIA community will automatically be interested. I don't watch The Bachelor. I've never seen an episode of The Bachelor. But they had a gay Bachelor season, for sure, papanoorin ko yun, di ba? So from a business perspective, talaga, it makes so much sense. Although, if they do have a gay season of The Bachelor featuring a former Bachelor, di ba? This guy, si Colton, I hope na kasi diba, naging Bachelor siya, tapos he ended up choosing a lady, diba, at the end last episode, diba? So I hope, I'm not know the name of the lady, so that contestant, I hope she becomes a Bachelorette too, because she deserves her own, diba, happy ending and her own reality show. So kung may Bachelor, gay Bachelor itong si Colton, yung contestant na pinili niya from his original season should have her own season of The Bachelorette.
I know. So
Agree.
Sa akin lang, the more bachelors we have out there who out and about, why not?
Why not, diba?
So, but yeah, sana nga. But again, I think it will be shared by one of our rin. Parang yung idea na hindi lang siya parang tokenism, hindi lang siya sige, may magawa lang natin, sige, mapagbigyan na natin isang season na gay, ganyan. So, but at least you have to see the sincerity as to why such season has to happen, diba? And of course the treatment and all. So well, we welcome producers of Bachelor and maybe other reality shows to open up new themes from their traditional themes through the LGBT lens. So we move to the next story. This is something exciting. We have the next story of, is it there? I think there. Oh, you see, how do you pronounce his name? Kid Cudi, praised for wearing a dress. LGBTQ people see a double standard. I think it was more of course, he's a cisgender male rapper, and I think, of course, everyone was happy that, wow, it's so cool now he's in a dress performing his new single, I think, and everyone was like praising him. But from the LGBT people, it was sort of like the double standard of society coming out. Na ang tingin is, pero pag yung mga trans people wearing yung mga ganyan damit, parang being ridiculed, parang pinagtatawanan, parang bawal ka magsuot ng palda if lalaki, kung ikaw ay lalaki na physically, di ba? So may mga ganon. So what do you think about this story?
Go ahead, Quino.
Well, I think I wanted to relate this because there's also a music video that came out recently by Lil Nas X. So Lil Nas X is an LGBTQI rapper, diba? And so in that music video, it also got a lot of controversy kasi parang he if I haven't seen the video myself, but based on the news reports I read, parang lap dances on Satan or something like that. And so a lot of the conservatives are up in arms over that. And he's like, he doesn't care. Because Lil Nas X again is, I think, I'm not sure if he identifies as queer, pero yeah, definitely part of the LGBTQI community. With Kid Cudi, parang hindi naman, from what I understand, hindi eh. So he just wanted to wear a dress, which is fine. He can wear whatever outfit he wants. This is also not new. I mean, Kurt Cobain in the early 90s was wearing dresses then, diba? And other like David Bowie in the 70s was wearing, very gender neutral or outfits or dresses na rin, you can call them. So nothing new. I like that he did it in a very nationwide platform. So why not? Yes, maybe may double standard, pero I think the way that we don't want, people to judge us, members of the LGBTQI community, then maybe we shouldn't be so judgmental also towards other people.
Yeah. I think kasi he paid homage to Kurt Cobain kasi parang death anniversary ni Kurt. I'm a fan of Kurt, oo. So, kaya siya nag-wear. So, the intention to siguro to pay tribute is there, but it's not really linked to, representation. And si Harry Styles did also cover Gucci, 'di ba? Vogue cover. Pero 'yun, tama na baka lang rin dapat we look beyond then kung ano yung sa labas, but more of the intention. Ano bang intention nila, why they are doing this? But I agree, it's a global platform, so still representation, visibility for people of diverse soji. So good pa rin, I guess. Yeah. So yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have the last one. I think I like this. This one I really like because Elliot Page, the first transgender man to be on the page or on the cover of Time magazine. That was featured during the I think March 31 to April 1st week of April week for Time in honor of the International Day for Trans Visibility, diba? So what do you think about this? We should have more cover pages like this.
More covers. And I think kasi I think nung nakalimutan ko sino yung kausap ko, but I feel lang that the trans men are not really that visible pa, as opposed to our trans sisters, diba? You have RuPaul, but now Gottmik is there. So parang I'm rooting for Gottmik na. So anyway, so I think this is a monumental, like big step towards, featuring different faces of transgenders. So yeah, and yun nga, crush ko siya. So good job. Hi, magazine.
Quino, ikaw, what say you, attorney?
Well, ako, I have to say first of all, pareho kami ni Angel. I am also team Gottmik for this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. But going back to Elliot, yeah, this is a lovely cover. He is definitely worthy of the cover and the article. And may valid point si Angel na parang, I remember when Caitlyn Jenner was featured on the cover of Vanity Fair, diba? Like for almost 2 weeks to almost a month, like the conversation was all about Caitlyn, diba? Yeah. Pero, so don't get me wrong, when lumabas yung Time cover with Elliot, may coverage din naman, substantial coverage, right? But parang feel ko hindi siya in the same level as Caitlyn, considering na I feel na Elliot is actually more popular. Like, diba, he has had more movies, he has been in the public, well, hindi man say longer, but continuously, diba? Like, time na, parang teenager pa lang siya, he's always been in a series of movies na. So when this happened, parang, I feel na a bit subdued. So a bit disappointed ako in that way. Pero I'm glad pa rin na I think I've seen a lot of support for Elliot. And also, yung mga na-share nila online, like sa Facebook, yung mga comments sa mga tao. And parang there was this one comment na parang if you read it yun lang, parang lumalabas na parang anti-trans. Pero yung pala, that person genuinely just wanted to be educated about what
Mhm.
Elliot did. And when somebody actually explained the situation to that commenter, nag-comment siya ulit na parang, parang I see, I've always been a big fan of Elliot, I wish him well, something like that. So, yun nakakataba ng puso yung mga ganung bagay.
Tsaka we've seen kasi him transition eh. 'Di ba
Mhm.
nakita natin siya from less to trans. So,
That's
tama ka,
right.
Kino. Oo, tama ka na parang mas bigger star nga siya eh kaysa kay Caitlyn eh. But
Mm-mm.
I guess that's it. So, yeah.
Okay, so I guess I mean for all the viewers out there, let's recap of some of the stories we picked up along the way for the past few weeks, and it's good to end at least yung sa kay Elliot Page na Time Magazine cover because tonight's episode is very timely to talk about our dear friends, family members, and colleagues, allies from the trans community. Diba? We call this episode Trans-cending Space. How do you transcend space? How do you, what about transcending? Diba? Parang you're, it's a word that gives us like power. You uplift, you move beyond such space. So I think it's an exciting night to have with us like two of our friends from the trans community, and they will be sharing their stories. They will be sharing their struggles and challenges along the way on their own space, like in the profession, in wherever they are, in whatever they're doing, diba? So tama ba, Kina Jel, it's important to hear their stories, to hear the transcending space of our trans community.
Definitely.
Totally. Yep.
Right. So we will have our guest for today. We're very excited. But before we do that, we will now pause for a few reminders muna. So please stay tuned, and Pride and Proud Asia will be back after a few minutes. Happy Pride. We'll be back.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Is Pride and Proud Asia, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I'm a king of rock, there is none higher. Some MCs should call me sire. To hold my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire. Now we rock up party and come correct. All people on time and rock connect. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I'm the king of rock, there is none higher. Some MCs should call me sire. To hold my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire. Now we rock up party and come correct. All people on time and rock connect.
Isang masayang April na naman ang inyong aabangan sa Home Not Alone Season 3 kasama si Papa Gio, Karen Sita, Kelvin Miranda, and Mikey Quintos, Sams David, P6, and Curay. Kaya mag-ready na sa all-out na kwentuhan, kulitan at kantahan this April sa Home Not Alone Season 3 kasama si Papa Gio. Sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Now back to Pride and Proud Asia, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Welcome back to Pride and Proud Asia. Happy Pride, our power activist in heels, Angel, and of course our hot attorney at law. Dapat ganun yata, Kino. Hot attorney at law.
Yeah.
Quino Reyes, diba? So, again, for those who just tune in, you are watching another episode of Pride and Proud Asia, the first of its kind program that puts a spotlight on LGBT plus leadership, and inspiring stories in business and beyond. I'm your host, your Chief Rampa Officer, Ron Astillas, with our power activist in Heels, Angel Romero, and attorney at law, Quino Reyes. So let's not keep our viewers waiting. Let's bring in the guest. Kino, would you like to introduce our first guest today?
Sure, I am very honored to introduce our first guest today. She is a lawyer. She is the chairman of the board of trustees of G Wave, which is the Gender Watch Against Violence and Exploitation. She is also an instructor in Silliman University. She currently works in the Philippine Ports Authority and is, like us, also an LGBTQI advocate. So I am honored to introduce to everyone Attorney Lee Verdogilio. Happy Pride,
Hi
Attorney Lee.
everyone, good
Happy
evening.
Pride!
Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride! Hi, Attorney Lee. Happy Pride! Finally, we
Hi.
we now we see
Hello,
each
happy
other face to
Pride.
face.
Yes, oo. Kasi nag-chat lang tayo kanina. So,
Oo. Maraming salamat, Attorney Lee. So, welcome to
yeah.
the program, and I hope
Mm-mm.
you'll enjoy your chikahan moments with us, and just chill lang, and definitely
Yes.
we
Oo,
are
syempre.
excited to hear more stories from you. Let's bring in our other, we're honored to have another guest. Uh, Jel, would you like to introduce our next guest?
Sige, I'm also honored to introduce our second guest. We have here tonight a seasoned sports physiotherapist who has had three national rugby teams under his care over the past 8 years. He is also the chief medical officer of the Philippine Rugby Football Union and an Exos. I don't know if it's correct how I pronounce it. Exos certified performance specialist who enjoys free diving and whiskey with gin and tonics. Let's welcome Mr. Steffi.
Hi guys.
Hi,
Hi,
Steph.
Steph.
Happy
Hi.
Pride, Steph.
Happy Pride.
Hi.
Happy Pride, Steph. We're excited kasi initially nalilito kami, we have Lee and we have Yi. We have Steph, of course. Lee and Yi. So, again, thank you very much for joining us, di ba? I think before the break, sabi namin, we saw a photo of Elliot Page being the transgender man on the cover of Time magazine. And
Yeah.
it's but the you know it, it's a opportune time to talk about trans community, how you transcend space wherever you are in whatever you do, di ba? So, umpisa na natin ang ating kwentuhan, and siguro just to start off with our initial question. Can you tell us something about your work, your profession, and what have kept you busy these days? Let's start with Attorney Lee. Kamusta ka, and ano pa nakakabisihan mo in the past weeks or months?
Hi. So, I just passed the bar exam kasi last year. So, I'm still starting my career as a new lawyer. So, yun
Congratulations.
talaga yung main ko ngayon. Yung parang main na nabibisihan. Starting the career. Ganon. Yun. Tapos, trying to get by sa pandemic now here sa province namin. Although it's not as bad as dun sa NCR, but then it's still a struggle, di ba? So, ayun lang. Just trying to get by every day. Ganon. Thank you.
Steph, ikaw, kamusta
How are you?
oo nga, kamusta ang community mo diyan? Hindi naman naka-lockdown.
No, good thing that, like one of the good things that being in the medical field brought is that even if we're on lockdown during the height of ECQ or the past ECQ that we had, because you're a medical practitioner or you're in the medical field or even allied medical field, you're able to cross boundaries. They extend that courtesy to you, knowing that you help people get by and you help to get people better. So for me, it's always been work. I love my work. I'm in love with my work. So I go to work 6 days a week, anywhere from 8 hours to about 14 hours, and I don't really mind. So yeah, it's gotten me busy. It's kept my mental health really healthy in a sense, and it's kept me healthy. I've had a few scares, but thank God everything has been negative for me and my team, in the office and here at home. Also, everybody's safe. So hopefully, you guys are also safe.
Thank you, thank you. Kino Jel, ikaw, kamusta ang, what can you say about pinagkakabisihan ni Steph at ni Atty. Lee?
Well, first of all, I can relate to Attorney Lee because I'm in my 10th year of practice now, but I can never forget my first year of practice. Because like don't na realize na because you study so much in law school and then you study so much for the bar exams and then when you're actually practicing law, na-realize mo na parang wala ka pa rin palang alam like the day-to-day applications of what you learned in school. Doon parang na-realize na parang ganito pala siya, di ba? So it's such a big learning curve for you. So I'm excited for you, pero I am also dreading the fact na ang dami mo sigurong trabaho right now. So, ayun. But at least it's keeping you busy, di ba? I mean, again, good thing minention rin ni Steph yun na work is a way, at least it applies to me, of keeping my mental health in check because it gives me, something to look forward to, a structure. So ayun. So I'm excited for you, but also a bit concerned if you're getting enough sleep.
I'm getting enough sleep naman po.
Good.
Okay naman.
Good.
Oo. I have to get enough sleep.
Yeah. Common ba yun sa mga lawyers na walang enough sleep? Hindi nakakatulog? Burning the midnight oil pa rin ba even after passing the bar?
Walang pahinga.
Well, I think
Depende.
depende rin sa type of law that you practice. Like, for
Yeah.
example, kung litigation, di ba, you go to court, may deadlines ka, di walang choice, di ba? Kung you only have until tomorrow, di ba ka na matulog? Kailangan ma-fight mo yan by tomorrow, di ba? So, depende siya, I would think. Not sure about Lido, if the nature of your work. Because I understand you work for the Philippine Ports Authority.
Yes. So ayun. So I'm with the government. So it's a different, I don't know, when you're having an attorney position, it's a different experience then. It's not as busy as if you're in litigation. Pero actually, I'm also doing private practice now, pero konting-konti lang na cases. So I only get busy pag may deadlines or may coming na mga hearings, ganon. Pero pag wala naman, so focus naman ako sa Philippine Ports Authority. Tapos, ayun, it's fine. 8 to 5 job, like any other job. It's just that you're a lawyer there. So, ayun, it's okay naman. It's not that, siguro, as busy as if I were in litigation talaga, like, focused lang doon. Ganon.
Pero mahirap din yan, ha? Mahirap din maging lawyer sa government. Tama ba? Kasi ang daming mga kailangan basahin, like yung mga cases na pinapasok sa inyo, lalo kung nasa legal office ka, di ba? Ng mga OLA, Office of Legal Affairs, di ba? Ng PPA. So, but how do you start your day? I mean, kayo Steph and Lee, like, parang a normal day for you, how can you describe it to us? Like, ano ba, pasok agad and then, or do you have me time at the end of the day or something that will move your mind away from work? Alam ko si Steph workaholic, pero sigurado naman baka may mga times ka naman na hindi ka na nagtatrabaho na. Steph, how do you start your day?
So how do you start your day?
The reason naman why I spend so much time at work, because the facility where I work, I've been privileged enough to be part of a team wherein we've created sort of a harmony between work and play in terms of me and then my boss. He got me into sort of triathlon training. So we have treadmills. We have 2 treadmills in the office. We have a full-size lifting equipment. We have bikes that are on bike trainers. So in the morning, that's why I come to work early. That's my me time in the morning. So I get to work. I get either my runs out of the way or my bike training out of the way. when pools used to be open pre-pandemic, I would get also my swimming out of the way in the morning. And then I'd be there na in the office. So, like my mind is already there na, okay, after this, then we start thinking about work. And then at the end of the day, I'm also really blessed to have friends who are in the strength and conditioning or strength and conditioning, what do you call this, business. So I tapped into my friends na they created a program for me that will match my lifestyle, my workload, and my training, my triathlon training, so that at the end of the day, I'm still able to get a me time in terms of lifting weights naman. Um, so basically, I'm in the office. That's why I'm in the office for like about 12 hours
That's
to
right.
14 hours at any given point, because nga, I get everything done in the office. Now, yes, it does have, like it does have a bit of it works for me because I am single. Um, I did date a couple of times, but wala eh. Right now, wala. So, okay lang. Training, work, training, go home, spend some time with the family. On weekends, it's pre-pandemic, it's going to on long rides on Sunday mornings with friends, and then having brunch or lunch with them, catch up a bit, and then the rest of the afternoon of Sunday or Saturday afternoon would be spent with family or my personal alone time that like I just stay in bed and watch TV or Netflix or HBO Go
That's
and
right.
whatever. So ganun.
So,
Busy talaga.
saan pumapasok ang whiskey diyan? Kasi sabi mo, fan ka ng whiskey, di ba?
And gin and tonic.
Gin and
Whiskey and
tonic.
gin tonics at the end of the day. It has been proven that a glass of a glass or a shot of whiskey at the end of the day, or same as with your red wine, but just please do not consume the whole bottle in one night. um, you know, let's be
You,
responsible adults in terms of
you,
that.
you,
But yeah,
you,
it's
I'll
been
take
proven
your
that
word
still
for
just
that.
wine.
you are talking to the right person, Angel. Our our expert mixer, expert
Oo.
in anything alcoholic, I guess. Pero
We will be
Kino
uh,
really
din,
good
ano ka
friends,
ba?
Angel.
Kino din.
ay, oo
So
nga
I
pala
was
si
I,
Kin.
I was gonna ask Steph kung ano yun, kasi parang your schedule seems so packed. And I was gonna ask, what did you have to kind of sacrifice, di ba? Looks like hindi naman pala. Hindi mo pala love life pala yung parang medyo
So
hindi
far,
priority.
hindi siya priority kasi nobody's there. But as I was telling Ron and Jel earlier before we started the show, they asked about it. Now I was like, if she arrives, like if if somebody arrives, then of course I will make time. I am not going to be one of my love languages is actually quality time. Eh.
Quality time, yes.
Quality
That's
time. So that's why like if because right now work is there, my quality time and my physical touch is devoted to work. But should someone arrive, should someone walk in like the door right now and tell you like, Steph, I'm in love with you, and I feel the same
Wow.
way, yes, of course I will. Like work will still be there because work is work. Eh. I love my work.
Correct.
It's not as if it's a chore for me.
That's right.
Um, I love my work and I appreciate my work, so I devote time to that. But if somebody does come in, yes, I will make time for that person. I'll exert effort on that person, of course. We'll
Correct.
take breaks. I haven't taken a break for so long because nga, nobody's there. Eh.
So,
So parang ayoko naman mag-break alone from work. So parang trabaho na lang. Pero
I
yeah,
see.
the people in the office, they've been asking me, it's like, when are you gonna take a break? I was like, don't see the
That's
point.
why I think that's why you have to make time for it. Kinilig ako ng konti kasi any story about mga love at mga ganyan, someone arriving for and like changing your whole world, I guess. I think isa sa mga experts diyan si Attorney Lee, no? Baka maybe like
Yeah.
how do you talk about love in general? Like how do you see love, and are you in a relationship right now, and is it hard to be in a relationship right now?
So yes, part di ba, earlier you were asking about your, what it's like in my day, ganon.
That's
So,
right.
I was going to answer nga, part of that is, the relationship, which is,
Wow,
parang
I love.
nagsabay siya when I passed the bar exam. And then, I was actually at Manila that time sa Supreme Court. Nag-sign ako ng role. So, I was doing, nag-story ako sa, Facebook, ganon. And then, that was the first time that my current boyfriend now, responded to my story. I mean, sa my day ko. Ayun, so, it started there, and then parang I didn't expect talaga na like you end up doing, okay, he's here, my boyfriend's here. Anyway. So
Okay lang
anyway,
yan, sige. Don't edit, don't edit.
yeah. Anyway, so one thing that I really learned is that you really parang when you're out, parang pag wala ka pa sa relationship, you think of things na parang, hindi ako ganito, or like you feel like you have a parang you don't even know your love language, and then when you're there na, you just find out na, ito pala yung parang love language ko, or like clingy pala ako, or something like that. Like you wouldn't know pala until you're there, because that I really thought na parang I wouldn't really parang strong independent woman ang peg, ganon, na parang okay, it's like, yeah, but then now parang quality time pala talaga, physical touch, ganon, yung mga ganong bagay talaga yung ko pala, love language, acts of service, ganon. So ayun, and ngayon ko lang yan na-realize na yun pala yung gusto ko. Ayun. So, part yan ng ko, daily routine ngayon. After passing the bar, and then I had a boyfriend. So, like, during the day, I work sa Philippine Ports Authority, and I do other things na sa ko, private practice. And then, at the end of the day, I spend time with him. Ayun. Kasi kasi siya, seafarer. So, ayun, nakinig siya. Seafarer kasi siya. So, I really spent time with him before he leaves na naman for quite some time. And then, yeah, and then he comes back. So, ayun. So, so quality time talaga. After work, I spent time with him. And, he, parang stress reliever ko siya, ganon, after work. Tapos, in the morning naman, because it's only me, wala kasi akong sibling. So, I spend my mornings with my mom, like the breakfast, ganon, before going to work. Parang, I'm really trying to manage my time with a boyfriend in the evening, with a mom in the morning, and then work during the day. Ayun.
Sige. So, tama naman talaga na may time ka for, I mean, kung meron man love beside you, like, with you, make time for it. So, well, sana all daw is yung sabi nila, di ba? Di ba? Sige, mag-abogado na rin kami. Baka pag-sign namin sa roster.
Day, don't forget, sa signing sa roster, my day mo. Yun yung crucial.
Hindi pala nag-work at Tinder, my day lang pala.
Totoo, di ba?
Nandyan lang yan, magre-react lang yan sa niya.
Ano daw?
yung type ko, hindi nga view yung IG stories ko.
Baka we should get tips pa, more tips from Attorney Lee kung ano ba, di ba? Kasi, mahirap talaga maghanap yata sa panahon ngayon. Because I guess the patience of everybody sa mga online app and all, parang ang bilis, fleeting. Mabilis, parang meron kang time dapat para sa trabaho, may time pa sa friends, sa love life, depende na lang or what, di ba? But let's see how it works. But curious ako, like how have you, like I'm sure in the past, Steph, you've had relationships, I guess, no? And how did your partner, I guess, parang welcomed or understand or appreciated the fact that like you're part of the trans community, diba? Is it something that's like surprising at the start when you were transitioning, and then now that ikaw attorney Lee, like kasama mo yung boyfriend, diba? Kamusta yung acceptance? Kamusta yung reaction? We've heard stories of like parang nagulat, but eventually na-accept, or we're very much interested to find out like ano yung mga usual reaction pag ganyan sa mga the love among with the trans person.
For me, when lifestyle transition kasi for me happened a long time ago.
Okay.
Meaning, I've started dressing up and using the men's toilet a long, long time ago, even before medically transitioning or injecting testosterone and whatnot. That happened a really long time ago. So the two girls that I've dated long term, one is 6 years and then one is 5 years. They were both the 6 year one. They both never saw me as a girl, basically. So if you ask them, did you ever date anyone of the same gender? They would both say no. Even up until now, after we've broken up, everybody that came after me, cisgendered guy. Technically, ako lang yung trans. Now, for both of them nga, they've never really seen me as a girl. So even though I haven't really identified myself as trans back then, they kind of saw it even before I did. I wasn't really aware of the trans community up until maybe 2013, 2014 ish, um, because of uh, I found out about the trans community because of another good friend of common friend of ours, Evan. So he is really good friends with one of my exes, and he was the one who sort of said like, hey, maybe you're not lesbian because you don't really identify as lesbian, like, but you also don't identify as a man. When people ask you for your gender, you still say female back then. Um, so maybe you want to look into this. And then he introduced me to someone, and then that opened up that it's not opening up a can of worms or the Pandora's box, but that opened up my mind in terms of, in a sense, like, hey, there is a trans man community, or like I can identify as trans man because in for God knows how long I'm 33 years old now. In the past how many years I've only known like LGBTQIA, and then the T would always be like trans women or cross dressers or trannies as they were called back then. So I never really I kind of thought na merong counterpart yung trans women dapat. Pero hindi ko kasi siya alam. I did not know of anything. I did not know also, I wasn't aware of what to search in terms of, like how, where to get my information. Until Evan was the one who connected point A to point B, and then, okay, now that it's like this, why don't I introduce you to someone? And then he introduced me to someone. I got in touch with a group, and then my perspective broadened, in a sense. So going back to the dating one, the 5 year relationship, the ex-girl, the friend of Evan, she was with me in the early transition phases.
Mhm.
She was with me in the early transition phases. She was with me when I started looking for doctors who will help me medically transition and guide me through my transition. She was there. She was also there to, what do you call this? Get me into the right mindset or headspace, because that's very important. It's
True.
very important to be in the right headspace when you actually start to transition. And then sadly didn't work out between the two of us. But right now, like, I've been blessed with the people who are around me. I may not be in a relationship with someone
Mhm.
specific, but the relationship that I have with my colleagues, my boss, my friends who are very supportive, the people who I train with, the people I bike with, I've been really, really blessed with them because they've always been super supportive of me. Na, like, okay, you're trans, and then what?
That's true.
It's not as if you're not the same person that we've met how many
Correct.
years, like that we haven't hung out with, that hasn't seen us all naked, because at one point I was the only one who was not drunk and everybody else is drunk, so you have to take care of people, so everybody's, so it the people around me were super supportive, in a sense na okay, trans ka, and then wala namang nagbago, you're still the same person. Yung
Yep.
sabi, there's one guy who said like even if you identified as a goat, we'd still be friends. So
Nice.
I'm blessed with those type of people. In terms of relationship, also, I've been super blessed with the girls that with the women that I've been with. They're really supportive. But I'm sure, like I'm sure some other, if it would have been some other person, the answer would have been very different. I think Lee would. I'm not sure what Lee's story is in terms of that, but if it's the same with me, then congratulations to the two of us. If it's not, at least you have someone with
That's
you.
right. Yeah. But one thing is for sure, I think for some of our viewers na queer, no, we're envious of you because you're working with the Philippine rugby team.
Okay, there
Yeah.
are highs and lows to that. There are highs and lows to that. Be
Okay,
careful of
sige.
what you wish
Oh
for.
my goodness. Pero
Ronald,
And Lord, I,
tatanungin mo yan.
I have gotten, if I got a peso for every single time somebody commented that, especially when I would post photos of them, mayaman na ako. Pero may pros and cons po yun. Hindi po siya, it's nice because you guys are not in that lawn with them in that bubble.
Correct.
But when you're there, it's like, guys, like
Correct.
we're all men here, but
Viewers beware.
viewers beware.
Beware for what you ask for, di ba?
Yes,
Ato,
very.
But I
Attorney
can
Lee,
sort of
sorry.
relate. Sorry, I can sort of relate lang kay Steph. I remember because I'm a yoga teacher and I taught na the Philippine ASCALs, diba? So everyone was like, oh my God. Pero when you're there teaching like 25
Mm.
athletes, these guys in a room, parang sometimes I wonder parang, wow, ang hirap niya eh. Kasi it's like, iba yung dynamic, you know what I mean? I feel
Mm.
like, I was back in high school. Parang yung situation. Pero, yeah, so I kind of get what Steph is saying. And also, I also want to say na, we were discussing Elliot Page earlier, right, on the cover of Time. And I think your story makes it really brings to the forefront the importance of that. Na parang for a generation of young trans men, like Elliot Page will be their person. Oh, it's possible pala
Yes.
to
Yeah.
be a trans man, diba?
Mm.
Kasi you remember you said earlier na parang you didn't have any male version of like, yung mga trans women and all. So ngayon, at least with Elliot there, and I don't want to say naman na parang putting all this pressure na parang Elliot will carry the whole trans masculine community on her shoulders. Pero at least she gives people an image and an idea of that particular identity.
Yeah.
It's nice because Elliot actually publicly came out. I mean,
Yeah.
locally we do have Ice Sigera and then
Yeah.
Jake Zyros.
Iros.
But
Yeah.
the difference is that they're both of them are well-known people. Like they're in the media. But recently you haven't really seen. I haven't really heard anything from. I don't know, but maybe it's not because where my circle right now doesn't really revolve in the trans community. Maybe I'm just out of touch in terms of trans men community, because I haven't been in touch with any of them recently. So I don't know if they're actually if they're visible. But during my time, kasi I knew about Ice. She was still Ice back then was still Isa Sigera.
Mm.
During, I think we coincided so hindi ko rin siya nakita as sort of something to aim for.
Mm.
And then Jake Zyros kasi parang his news when he came out, I was already medically transitioning. I already had my systems in play. So I also couldn't match my transition to his, because he also did not come out of he just basically he just came out na Jake Zyrus na ako. It like from Charis Pempenko went into sort of a hiding or had a lot of issues and then came out on the other side as Jake Zyrus. Well and good. Super duper proud of them for the two of them actually coming out because of being well-known personalities. And it's really nice. Hopefully lang, we get to see more of them. It's also why like recently I've been agreeing to and I've been wanting to do a lot more of these talks. Kasi nga, there's not a lot of trans men who are out there and actually talking about things.
Yeah.
Yes.
You always see trans women doing things. Trans women are always in the forefront. Why? Because they're the ones who are most objectified, and then they're also the ones who are most oppressed. Diba?
That's
You
true
know,
also.
how many news or how many people have you heard or how many coverages has been there na may pinatay na trans men or may na
Yeah.
Abuso na
Agree.
what? I haven't heard anything unless you guys have heard something.
that's right.
Pero
Yeah. Agree.
so like it's high time that we trans men, the brothers, we try and give our voices out and speak out for trans sisters, because what we have to realize, the privilege that our trans sisters lost when they transitioned is actually the same privileges that we trans men gained.
That's true. That's true.
Ganda.
Right?
Ganda.
We
Yes,
gained
that's
a
true.
lot of things because let's say stealth ka. In the trans community, we have such a thing called stealth, meaning trans ka pero ang pakilala mo na talaga is male. Tapos hindi mo ina-announce sa tao na hindi mo kino-confirm na trans ka. Ang announcement mo lang talaga is male. Na parang you're sort of coming out as a cis male. Yun yung projection mo. Pero trans ka talaga. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to be able to talk and raise voices for our trans sisters. Kasi nga,
That's right.
ang dami nating nag-game eh. Ang dami naming nag-game. Ako, personally, like I wouldn't have been able to do a few of the things that I'm doing now had I not transitioned.
Mhm.
Had
On
I
the question of gaining, so interesting kasi like with Attorney Lee, for example, I think I'd like to ask you initially, like relating to people, relating to your partner now in terms of your love life, how important is having a support group? Like kanina binanggit din ni Steph yun na to transition, kailangan na-refer pa siya sa isang support group na meron palang ganitong trans man community and all. For you, Attorney Lee, mahalaga ba yung ma-explain mo sa partner mo na, wait, this is me, this is myself, I'm a trans woman, I'm proud to be a trans woman, but in the process, do you also need a support group to help you figure things out, to lead you to the right direction? Like you can do this, it can help you with the transition, medical wise, psychological, mental health, state wise. Napakahalaga ba ng mga bagay na yon, at least in your experience as a trans woman and now as a lawyer, as a professional lawyer?
Totoo yun, no? Yung support group. Kaso lang, yung sa trans man na community, totoo yung sinabi niya na parang it's more of a struggle for them. Kasi here in the Philippines, we have kasi this, beauty pageant culture na when I was growing up, ang dami ko nang nakilala and nakita sa media na trans women. Pero usually naman sa mga, doon sa area na yun, yung sa beauty pageant, ganun. So, when you start, ay parang nung nakita ko na yun, parang alam ko na kaagad na that's who I am, that's where I belong. Tapos I did further research on the internet, and information about being trans women is very accessible sa internet. Like, you see a lot of it in the internet. Unlike siguro sa case ng trans men. So for me, even if I didn't have enough friends na trans women when I was starting, I had a guide lang through internet, ganon, sa media. I had enough I had YouTube vloggers na finalo ko talaga back then that would, share their stories and what they do. And so yun yung naging guide ko. So whatever I learned from that, the enlightenment that I got from it, parang yun na yung na-apply ko in relaying myself to others here here sa community namin. So whatever I learned, I gathered and I expressed it to the people around me as well. That this is who I am. Based on what I have learned, I realized na the shoe fits. I belong in this this gender identity, ganon. So so people here but not that familiar things, parang it's also easier for them to when I was talking.
Yeah, hi. I think si Lee is naglalag lang yung connection. You're back.
Yes,
Hi, Lee. Yeah, so go
nag-lag.
ahead.
I'm back.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah,
saan
yeah.
ako? Saan yung last narinig nyo?
Parang,
anyway, so I nga.
Ayan, Lee. Hi, Lee. Naglalag si Lee.
So,
Well,
yes.
yeah, to our viewers, kasi si Lee is in Dumaguete right now, no? So medyo nagko-cross ng border mo na ng checkpoint si Lee.
Checkpoint daw eh, oo.
Hi, Lee. Can you hear us?
Bakit ba? Lag ba?
Pero naglalag.
Can you hear me? Okay ba ako? Nalag.
Ayan. Sige. Ayan, naglalag ka lang a bit, but now, yeah. Maybe you can talk slowly siguro para ma-capture ng viewers natin on what you're sharing. On the importance of having like someone to look up to. I agree, the beauty pageant culture, helped a lot for the community to understand trans women, di ba? We don't have Mr. Paul gay all the time. We don't have ganyan. No? Wala tayong mga trans men, beauty pageant everywhere. But the trans women, the beauty pageant for trans women, it's almost everywhere, in every barangay minsan, di ba? So, importante talaga ba yun, Lee?
Okay, so nag-lag ka din from my end. Anyway, lag pa din ba?
Yeah, okay na. Go na. Sige, proceed.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Proceed. Yeah.
Pero hindi ko narinig masyado yung question mo. Anyway, so ayun, I'll proceed na it's easier talaga for a trans woman to journey here in the Philippines, begin the transition because of the accessibility of information from others in the community. Kasi nga madami naman talaga dito sa atin. Siguro because of the fact na earlier in the 2000s available na ang yung mga hormones ng trans women, it's accessible sa drugstores minsan. So we really see them. The visibility talaga is out there. So ayun, it's not hard for us to parang start our transition. And then the information that we get and we understand what being trans is about, we are able to access it in the internet, and then we understand and then we share who we are to others. And like what I said earlier kasi is that here in the province, hindi kasi masyadong aware ang people about these things or these information. So when you feed it to them, parang they don't really make much of a big deal out of it, because they don't really, parang it's not much of a big deal because they don't really, I don't think they fully understand it, so they don't make a big deal out of it. Ganon. Pero when somehow it's still sad because you're surrounded by people that don't fully understand you. Parang they're just there, they tolerate your existence, but I don't think they deeply understand your where you're coming from, or your story, or your identity. So they're just there. They just look at you and they just feel like like you're any other gay person out there, ganun. But like the deep understanding talaga, I don't think it's there here in my community. Ayun.
I think that's one space that needs to have more exposure in terms of the trans
Yeah.
community, no? The localities, the
Yeah.
provinces out there na parang ano ba yung the usual, kasi may mga usual stereotypes, the usual na mga pag bakla parang bakla diyan, tomboy diyan, pag trans okay na sa beauty pageant, pasalihan mo na lang sa sa contest sa fiesta, mga ganon, di ba? So I mean, sadly, these things are statements coming from in other communities, di ba? So I think my question to you both is yung parang how parang in what you do now, di ba? You're Lee, Steph, you're a physiotherapist. Lee, you're a lawyer. Rarely do we. Ako, I haven't met a lawyer na trans woman pa until tonight. How important
Me
is
too.
like pursuing your passion, pursuing your profession, notwithstanding your identity as a person, di ba? Kailangan ba makahon tayo na basta pag trans ka, ito lang kailangan mo, ito lang magagawa mo. Pag trans woman ka, pang iba beauty pageant, o iba sabi na pang parlor. I mean, we agree. I mean, sa akin, there's dignity in working as an entrepreneur, in as having a salon, for example. But how can you how do you see like those exploring other profession? Should we have more of that out there? Steph, ikaw.
Yeah, we should, being trans should never hinder you from pursuing what you want. It never did for me. Um, we may have very different backgrounds in terms of your support, your community, or the community where you interact. Pero it should never be a hindrance. Um, tapos na tayo dun sa sense na kailangan overachievers para i-compensate yung pagiging part mo ng LGBTQIA.
Yeah.
Tapos na tayo doon. Like, we're so, we in the LGBT community, or even in the trans community, we're already on the top of our league. Some of us are already in the top of our league. We've seen how many people become CEO and they're gay or they're lesbian. We've seen attorneys who are trans. Hindi na dapat hindi siya hindrance dapat siya celebration, kasi it should be a celebration. Why? Because after all that we've been through growing up, all the people ridiculing us, we still came out on top, right?
Yeah.
And the moment you actually think, the moment you use that and you put that as a thrust to move you forward, you'll open so much more doors. Not just doors, windows. Like, everybody will open, even people will open doors for you. You don't even have to bang into and knock and like, hey, papasukin mo ko, magaling ako. Hindi na eh. Once you actually put or do really, really good work, great work, the way that you identify will not even be secondary. People will not even bat an eyelash. And I know this for a fact, because yes, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, I'm 11 years into practice. There's been blood, there's been sweat, there's been tears, there's been nights that you don't sleep because you need to get to point A to point B to point C to point D all in one day. You need to juggle 4 jobs in one day. That's fine. but it never was. It should never really be. That's part of the job naman eh. Everybody, even cisgendered people, have to go through that. If they want to be at the top of their game, they have to go through that. Nagkataon lang na trans ako. Did I ever use me being trans as an excuse? Yes, at one point, because I really didn't know what to do anymore. But after, like, somebody spoke to me about it and told me, like, why are you making why are you using that as an excuse, and why are you telling yourself that? You should actually celebrate it, because after everybody else doubting you, that you will not, and telling you you will not make a name for yourself because you're trans, nobody's gonna hire you because you're trans, everybody's just going to think that you're gonna molest girls because you're trans. And it's like, hello, you're here, you're at the top of your game, you're helping a whole lot more other people, you know. And it should never be, never, like, tapos na nga tayo dun sa overachiever ko, okay, top ako ng ganito, CEO ako, kasi nga, kasi, kaya siya CEO kasi sobrang galing niya, bading naman siya. Ano ngayon kung bading siya? Ano ngayon kung trans siya? Ano yun kung trans woman siya? Attorney naman siya. How many attorneys how many people have tried to take the bar exam and actually not pass? And here we have a trans woman, a sister, who's actually passed it, you know, and she's there. She's beautiful. She's there. She knows what she's doing, you know.
That's true.
Yes, starting off with her in her career, and mind you, watch her space. She's gonna create a whole lot more, and she's gonna be a trailblazer. We have Quino, who's a lawyer for how many years? Did him being gay, did it stop him from being a lawyer, from passing the board exam or the bar exam? No.
Correct.
Did me being trans
That's true.
hinder me from passing my board exam and actually getting to where I am now? No. You know.
So that's true. So I mean, I agree with you. Like, parang it shouldn't stop you from pursuing your dreams, what you're passionate about. Attorney Lee, ikaw, parang along the way trying to become a lawyer, did you ever doubted yourself? Like, taka lang, parang hindi yata dapat ako maging lawyer kasi I'm a trans woman, or baka hindi yung fit sa akin. Was there a time in your life when you felt that way? Maybe because of social pressure, maybe because of the stereotypes we have in the community. Ba? I mean, that's a given. Or talagang outright no. I will pursue what I want to do. I want to be a lawyer, and no matter what my identity is, my soji is, I will become a lawyer. Was that your case also, Attorney Lee?
No, well, Steph, while I agree na yung sinabi ni Steph na we're past that part na magko-compensate tayo to achieve things para parang to compensate the fact that LGBT ka. Actually, that was one of my main thrust pa rin in becoming a lawyer talaga, because I was thinking kasi na if I didn't become someone or a professional, especially as a lawyer, parang I felt like I'm not gonna be treated fairly or at par with everyone else. So I had to achieve this para to achieve a certain level of parang respect, like what everyone gets. So that's my main thrust talaga while pursuing the profession. At the same time, I wasn't just thinking of myself. I was thinking of bringing the entire community with me, because I knew na pag matapos ko to at pag naging lawyer ako, people will immediately think na we are capable of achieving these or attaining professions like this that were conventionally, especially the law profession, no, historically it's male dominated. So parang it's something that I really wanted to challenge myself, and at the same time bring the community with me. Now we can do this. Ayun. So
That's
another thing then is pag nakuha ko na yung license as a lawyer, I have a bigger voice, I have a bigger platform and influence in sharing my advocacies, 'di ba? It's a weapon talaga to
That's
para ma-share yung advocacies ko and ma-push through siya. Pero right
thank
now,
you,
kahit
Lee. Yeah.
yeah, kahit lawyer na ako, parang the main pa rin talaga when people see me is the fact na talaga parang there's still parang the fact of being trans is still
Yeah.
such it's still parang
Trivial. It's
na-outshine pa rin.
trivial.
Mm.
Yeah. Na-outshine niya
Meron pa
pa rin
rin.
yung pagiging lawyer ko.
Mm.
Para bang yun yung unang napapansin. Like, talaga, trans?
Oo nga.
Ang ganda mo, mas maganda ka pa sa akin, ganun,
Bakit,
ganun.
no?
And then, parang on top of that, yung pagiging lawyer na din. Yung parang,
Sige,
talaga, lawyer ka? So, ayun. So, parang,
I think.
yung pagiging trans pa rin yung main na Kahit sa job ko, ganun. Parang, yun pa yung main parang mas nakikita kaysa pagiging lawyer. So it's still actually happening yung ganun.
Thank you, Lee. So I think you talk about weapons. We will talk about like what kind of weapons should we bring in pa, no, to be stronger as a community, no? We'll just pause for a few break, and now we're heading to the latter part of the episode. But again, stay tuned, and we'll be back with our guest Steph and attorney Lee. So see you in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
We'll be back shortly. This is Pride and Proud Asia, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
It's time to feed your mind. It's time to know the real answer. It's time to be aware. Information that you need to know, straight from the experts. Timely, reliable, and relevant. Different sides of issues and from different walks of life. All of them with questions that demand answers. Here in the Conversations with Chester Kidlat, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Only here in Big Media. For harnessing luck and success in doing business, this is Philippine Business Feng Shui at your service. Sa ikaunlad ng bayan, Feng Shui ang kailangan. Hosted by your partner in luck, Master Aldrich Dalumpines, every Wednesdays at 8 p.m. See you on our next learning modules for luck in business. Only here on Big Media.
Now back to Pride and Proud Asia, only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Welcome back. Happy Pride, everyone. So now we're in the latter part of our episode. We're still bringing in Attorney Lee and Steph to join us on screen, and so that we have some. Oo nga, ang bilis ng oras natin. We have some questions, I think, from the viewers, and can we pull them up? So at least baka makatulong din si Steph and si Lee to help us answer our connection with our listeners, our viewers, and again, shout out to all our friends in the chamber, partners who have been there. Let me see. I think we have one question we received. The first one is, eto kanina nasabi na yata, usapang pag-ibig. How will you describe your ideal partner? So quickly lang siguro kay Steph, kasi si Atty. Lee mukhang happy na siya. So si Steph,
Happy and
ideal
love na.
partner. In 3 words, describe your ideal partner. Public service announcement ito, Steph.
Support.
3 words:
Yes.
strong-willed, independent.
Ayun na, okay. So, take note ha. Yun lang hinahanap ko ni...
Strong-willed, independent
Strong-willed,
women dyan.
Refer a friend. So, pwede naman po tayo dyan.
May referral fee. Dinner.
Oh, by fee daw.
Ipapadeliver na lang ni Steph. Next question. Do we have another one? Let me see. There. If a person is transitioning, what should be considered first? 2 to 3 tips you could share Attorney Lee, transitioning. I know it's a hard thing to do. What should they consider first? One, two, three.
Should I
Nakamute.
go?
Ayan. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me ba?
Yep, we
Yes,
can hear
yes.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what you should first consider, ano, wag kang, for as a trans woman naman to na experience, wag kang masyadong magmadali na, ano, you will get, parang when you take your hormones, you're immediately, parang, you get to a kasi meron kasing, di ba, may tinatawag tayong gender dysphoria. So, most of the time, trans women especially are always in a hurry to get to a point na passable sila. And that's what you should first know in transitioning, na you don't always get to that point fast. Sometimes nga, kung ano yung parang desired mo na look in your transition para maging feminine ka, you don't really achieve it. So, dapat realistic ka sa expectations in your transition. And also always seek medical help, kasi especially among us trans women, ano we usually just do self-medication kasi access to medical assistance for people like us is very it's very rare. Parang lalo na dito sa province, you can't find anyone who can help you. So you have to search for a research over the internet on what to do and ask other trans women on what's the right thing to do. Kasi ang dami talagang pwedeng masamang mangyari when you do it wrongly. So always be careful and do your research well. And as much as possible, seek medical assistance talaga. Ayun. Those are the two things that you have to consider. Be realistic about your transition and then seek medical help.
That's right.
Para safe. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, please. I think, do we have another one? How do you relax on your free time? Para nasagot na nito ito yung mga whiskey, gin tonic. But ako si Attorney Lee, I'd like to know, what do you do when you relax, take your me time? Meron bang may ginagawa ka ba na, it's really with the partner?
I like watching series. The last series that I was rewatching was Pose. I love Pose so much.
Oh,
So
yes.
especially yung
Yes.
part ng story ni Angel. So ayun,
Yup.
I've been rewatching Pose in my free time. Maybe because gusto ko lang talaga manood ng shows na alam ko na yung plot. I have that tendency kasi na manood ng shows and keep watching them, rewatching them. So, yeah, yun lang yung ginagawa ko sa me time ko, watching movies or videos. Mostly videos that are movies that I have already watched. Tapos, ayun. But rarely na lang ako nagme-me time now. It's more with my loved ones na.
That's true.
So, ayun.
Especially now that we're in a pandemic, no? Parang some people are not given the chance to be physically with their loved ones, with their family. Hiwa-hiwalay din. So if you have a chance that you're with your family all the time, make this make more extra effort to show your love to them, express your love to them. Diba, Jel and Quino? We have one more, we can accommodate one more question. I think there's, ayan. Hindi ako sanay na tawagin ng trans friend ko na she or her, di ba? And what should I do? The pronouns, like some people are like, I've seen you before transition, now that you've transitioned, paano nga ba? Parang, are we supposed to be sensitive when it comes to the pronouns, how you want to be addressed? Steph, what do you say about this?
For me kasi, at first I was bothered about it. Pero in the grander scheme of things kasi, what they think of me will no longer affects how I think of myself. I've come to that point. But it's not the same for other people. So, kung hindi mo talaga, I have some friends who still prefer to call me by my full name and, she, her. and I don't castrate them for that, or I don't alienate them. Um, what I did was I opened up a conversation and I asked like why, and then of course they would have their own reasons, and on my end, I also explained like, sige, kung hindi, hindi naman we're actually good friends, it's not gonna affect our friendship. I would appreciate it more if you would be able to use the proper pronouns that I like or that I identify with. But if it's really too much to ask from you, then hindi rin naman magbabago yung pananaw ko sa sarili ko eh. So, okay lang. Pero, kung, alam mo yun, kung at least make the effort of talking to your friend.
Yeah.
Reach out to your trans friend and then tell them like, it's, the cliche line, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah,
We've all heard that line. You take that effort and then make them realize also that it's just really because you as a person, you just couldn't do it, and it doesn't have to affect your friendship, you know, it doesn't really have to affect the friendship. Pero kung adamant siya na gusto niyang ganyan, tas hindi mo talaga mabigay, then i-explain mo na lang din and then give your friend, your trans friend, some space and some time to contemplate on things. Kasi meron din siyang kailangan mga isipin. Hindi,
That's true.
hindi natin pwedeng it would be nice for everybody, but we have to be realistic. Meron talagang tao na hindi kaya. And ako, on my personal opinion, doesn't bother me. If others, they get bothered, then they have to open up that conversation.
That's right. I mean, that's the reason why we're having this episode, no? Parang just, this is a conversation starter. We believe that it's not the end of our discussion about trans people, transcending space. And that's the reason why we invited Attorney Lee and Steph to today, because, marami kailangan mapag-usapan out there, on the main pages of our news that we hear every day. So we are moving to the latter part of the program, and again, we'd like to hear your like final message or final thoughts on how do you transcend space in this time where there's a lot of noise out there and there's limited space given to the trans community. How do you do that as your final message to all our viewers and listeners tonight?
Lee, you can start.
Okay. So, I feel like how you express your thoughts right now or opinions really matter because you first of all when you share your opinions to others, you have to know their perspective and where they're coming from, because how they would react would matter about where they're coming from. So you have to understand that. And whatever they say or whatever they know about the community, then you assess if there's someone who comes from a place that you could assume that should know but refuse to understand, then you can say that they're really being, they're just trying refusing change. Okay, I'm back. But if there is someone who really needs lagging, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Lee. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, but if there's someone who just needs learning from the community, then you have to help them parang get over that ignorance. So you really have to know where they're coming from, and how you express yourself, how you share your ideas shouldn't be in a way that would make them feel small about themselves, because if you do that, then most of the time they would just refuse your message, and it would just end up wrong because they would feel like you're attacking them.
Yeah.
So you have to sound helpful and parang just trying to help them. Parang ganon. You just have to be calm about it. Know when you have to have have a commanding presence and know when you should sound like you have to help them.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
ayun, that's it.
That's so true, Attorney Lee. Steph, final message to our viewers, transcending space.
If you're given the space, use it properly.
I agree. I think it's because you are bringing the entire community with you, no? So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Attorney Lee. Thank you, Steph. Kino, what do we have in store for the rest of
Thank
our viewers in the succeeding episode? What should they expect? I mean, we're happy that we have this platform, Pride and Proud Asia, and we want to hear more about what's in store for our viewers.
Well, I have to ask this very important question, Ron. Open-minded ka ba? I know, well, all kidding aside, shout out to everyone listening or watching now. If you want to be featured on our show, Pride and Proud Asia, if you want us to promote your business, we are giving you a platform to shine and to be an inspiration for everyone, most especially members of the LGBTQIA community. In our Pride of Pride feature, the Pride of Pride segment is all about giving back and celebrating businesses of all shapes, sizes, and colors that promote diversity and inclusion in business, in the workplace, and beyond. So I hope you can support that, and we are very open to anybody interested in being featured in our show.
Yeah. Again, it's anyone who sparks change, inspires the community, a business that champions LGBTQIA leadership. We are here and we want to hear your stories. So just email us at prideandproudasia@gmail.com and we'll provide the space and platform for you.
Thank you very much. Again, we are not saying goodbye. We only say see you later. And definitely, if you want to catch us, we're live every Saturday, 8:30 p.m. You can look at our Facebook and YouTube account of V81 Radio Manila or the Amazon On Demand and download the V81 app. And again, you can also contact us through email address prideandproudasia@gmail.com. So once again, thank you, Attorney Lee. Thank you, Steph, for joining us tonight. And we are very happy to hear your stories. We will have more in the next episodes of Pride and Proud Asia. Kino?
Again, just a signing off. This is Kino, your hot attorney at law. And I hope I don't get sued for copyright infringement. But kapag may katwiran, ipaglaban natin. Magkakasama tayo sa laban na ito.
This is Angel. I always say that take up space, be kinder, and happy Pride every day.
And this is Ron, your Chief Rampa Officer. As I always say, pride mo, irampa mo.
Pride and Proud Asia.
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride, everyone! Thank
Happy
you,
Pride.
Steph. Thank you, Lee.
Steph,
Happy
and
Pride.
Thank you, Steph and Lee.
Thank you, guys.
See you next week.
Welcome to Pride and Proud Asia, Asia's first online radio show that champions LGBT contribution and leadership in business and in our country and the region. Hosted by the Philippine LGBT Chamber of Commerce, visibility, representation, and empowerment. This is Pride and Proud Asia, Saturdays, 8 p.m. Philippine time. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Happy Pride! Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, your all hits, all Pinoy digital radio station in South Manila. This is V81 Radio.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Radio. Dahil mahal na